will call the special meeting, December 4th, to order. And first thing is amendments to the agenda. Is there any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, next item is presentation by citizens for items on the agenda. Anyone who would like to address council, just give us your name and address and the item you'd like to address. And I have two names that have been given. Mr. Hoops, I think you want to go first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council. My name is Harvey Hoots. I am a past council member of 25 years. I live at 130 Bolters Lock Road in the old Friars Gate section of town. I come to you tonight to speak on item 4B, the approval to appoint a town attorney. There's very few people that are more aware of the time spent of the town attorney in the various parts of the town than myself. And I know that each one of you, excuse me, each one of you have expressed an interest and a desire to maintain the council being good stewards of the people's money, and I applaud that. As we look back at what the town needs on a town attorney, I'm not here to advocate for Jake Moore. Jake Moore is a good friend. He's been a good town attorney for many years. That's a decision you folks have to make, and not something for me. But I am here to speak on behalf of the citizens, and that is the monetary standpoint. Jake Moore, his law firm, Moore Taylor, served the town for $35,000 a year in round dollars. They served the town well. They served the town with a flat fee. Very important. Back long before any of your times, back in the 1990s, we had another incident, a period of about 2 years when Jake Moore was not town attorney, and we went with a law firm, very good attorney, very good law firm, but it was on an hourly basis, and it like to broke the town. So we came back and we worked with a flat fee again, and that's what I'm here to discuss with you. If you look at what the agenda says here, $200, not to exceed $200 an hour for this attorney, of which I know nothing about this person, don't know whether he's good, bad. I did look him up on the internet. He's has a website, and that website is dealing with personal injury. The law firm there looks like the only thing they mentioned was debt collection. So but I know each one of you will be looking at the resume and all of the attorneys to pick someone that has municipal government background. As we look at the police department and we look at the court system and the number of hours that the attorneys put in with calls from the police officers for opinions, court and jury strikes, jury trial preparation, jury trials themselves, many of which do not go to fruition, but I have sat through probably more than everybody else in here, except Joe maybe, combined. And many of them are settled. Once the jury goes back to that jury room, the lawyers get together. But that doesn't help this matter. Those attorneys were here for hours, and the clock is running on an hourly basis. As best I could figure, when you look at council meetings, town administration, very limited calls. We're looking at probably 27 hours. If you equate that to what this agenda depicts, you're going to be looking at $64,800 for a town attorney. That's an 85+% increase. That doesn't cover any lawsuits, and we have some. That doesn't include any letters that the town needs written. That doesn't include any judgments that we ask them to follow up on with dilapidated houses and abandoned property. That doesn't deal with any time spent for code and other issues. 27 hours at $200 an hour, again, is an 85% increase. I just do not understand how anyone that has charge of the people's money can legitimately agree to those kind of increases when it's not necessary. There are other law firms in and around town that have municipal experience that will work on a flat fee basis. And by the way, while I'm here, the agenda is in error. The code calls for the agenda to have a format. It doesn't have a thing in here about Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Hanson.
Excuse me. I am John Hanson. I go by Old John because of the previous young John who was here with the town, being we were both employed for a while by the town. I live at 905 Shadowleaf Court here in Columbia. I've been a resident here in Irmo for 25 years plus. And I expressed my concerns and that of the members of the town. First, this holding of a meeting on a Friday night is inappropriate. It conflicts with Union Church's Living Christmas Story and many other activities, including those of you right here on the council. Are the matters of the town at this point such an emergency that we need to have a special meeting? Is that really merited? I don't think so. I would guess that 99% of the people in the town of Irmo don't know that this meeting is going on. Now, the new Irmo News in the latest volume reports that the town attorney has not been reappointed. That's my first concern. According to the new Irmo News, Mr. Moore has been the town's attorney for 35 years, and as far as I know, I've only been here 25 years, Mr. Moore has performed his duties admirably, exceptionally well, and he's not been reprimanded in any of those 35 years. He handled matters successfully, and there have not been any incidents. My second approach is in the selecting of the new town attorney. I ask you, and perhaps you have, but have all of the members been provided the qualifications, resumes, and expected costs of all of the candidates being considered? And it looks like there's only one that's really going to be considered. Has there been a bidding process, such as I would think be required in an activity of this magnitude? I called the town today, the town of Irmo, and I was told that, you know, Jake Moore's existing salary is about $3,000 a month, $36,000 a year. Said representation was told includes a appearances in the town court. And with my background and experience, I know a little bit about the operation of the court system. I don't think it's prudent to come in here and say, I know this attorney, so let's make him the new town attorney. We need to go through a reasonable process. And furthermore, I agree, along with Harvey, that any new attorney ought to work under the same financial rules that have existed up to this point in time. So, and that would include a cap of $36,000 on the annual compensation. Now, having a little experience in the court system, let me bring out something that you may not know. With the new attorney earning $200 an hour, let's just imagine that a jury trial is scheduled. Now, from my experience, jury trials last from 1 to 4 hours. So, we're going to pay that attorney between $200 and $800 for a jury trial. Now, it's a rare instance in which the judge administers a cost, a charge to the defendant which exceeds those costs that I just brought out. So as a result, what are these people going to do? They're going to say, hey, let's not schedule an attorney tonight. We'll let the policeman defend himself. No attorneys, because, you know, that's the way to save money, not have an attorney here. So you just go ahead and run the court system without a proper representation of the attorneys. No lack of, you wouldn't be representing the town as you should then in this case. And as you all have heard, the cost of the attorneys for coming to jury trials was already included in Mr. Moore's compensation. So as a result, if the police needed to have representation of an attorney during a jury trial, they'd call for it because it's already included in the cost. No consideration whatsoever. Well, in summary, I'm upset. As members of the communities, we ask and expect open meetings, open discussions, and we expect you people to act on reasonable judgment and experiences. What should you do? I request, as a community member, that this selection process of a new attorney be delayed, held off until you can go about it in a reasonable, operative, and orderly manner that you ought to do. Then, in that way, the community can see your actions as reasonable and prudent. And just, again, it's not on the agenda, but I suspect the tree efforts made by Mr. Moore are in jeopardy. That's just my opinion. If it happens, and Mr. Moore stops supporting the trees, the loss will be in the tens of thousands of dollars to our city. But it's just money, and it's just the reputation of our city that you've placed on the line. New council members, I challenge you. You've got a responsibility. You were elected to represent our town and our community, and I expect that you will follow through and let's be reasonable in the actions that you take as in this part of the council.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Robin Barker. I'm at 130 Hexham Circle. I've lived in the town of Irmo my entire life. I've owned a home here 8 years. I did not know about this meeting. It came to a very big surprise to me, so I didn't come extremely prepared. However, I would like to speak on the attorney situation as well, which is section 4B of the agenda. I would like to talk, I think I'm going to more defend Jake Moore and then also talk about the financial portion for the town of Irmo and how that affects the taxpayers. Jake Moore, of course, has been our town attorney for more than 3 decades. Jake Moore was paid 36, I'm hearing people say 35, so between $35,000 and $36,000 per year, and that was a fixed rate. Again, it included everything that we needed done for the town. A town attorney has been proposed for $200 per hour. So based on the time that Mr. Moore has spent here in the town, we're looking at $70,000 per year. Why? How does that make sense? This is a waste of our taxpayers' money. Councilman Walker asked that the issues be put on a new agenda or on the next agenda so that council could put forth the criteria for the new town attorney. Why is that not on the agenda? Okay. Mayor, I'm asking the 2 new councilmen this question. What do you know about Jake Moore, besides the fact that he has never been reprimanded by our town and has served our town faithfully, not to mention underpaid, for decades? Why did you not vote to reinstate him? I would like each one of you to give me 2 good reasons why you didn't reinstate him. Or for that matter, that's fine. I'm still going to ask it, and you can think it. That's fine. 2 good reasons why you didn't reinstate Jake Moore. Give me 2 good reasons why you want the new town attorney, who is going to cost us at least double the amount of money. 2 good reasons why you didn't reinstate Jake Moore. 2 good reasons why you want to elect a new town attorney who's going to cost us more than double the amount of money. And that, okay, now I'm hearing probably more than that, because we're talking about his fees, not even including some of the things that our town needs. Again, to the new 2 council people, you campaigned on financial responsibility. How is doubling the salary of the town attorney financially responsible? Think about that too. You don't have to answer me because he doesn't want this to be a debate. That's fine. Don't answer me. Think about it though. How is what you campaigned on, you had our town vote you in on financial responsibility. However, you didn't reinstate a town attorney who has been here for more than 3 decades at $36,000 per year and did everything that was needed for our town. How is not reinstating that town attorney who has proven himself to our town, proven himself to the people, planted trees for our town and made it beautiful, brought people to this town, parks to this town, a lot of it out of his own pocket, not even something that the town had to pay for. Tell me how that's financially responsible. Again, we're talking about re-electing, or we're talking about electing a new attorney that possibly has no municipal experience. Nothing on his website with that. You guys want to call a special meeting tonight. Nobody knew about, nobody had any idea about, not on the agenda for next week. And you're talking about voting in a new attorney with no experience. But yet, can't reinstate an attorney we've had for 3 decades at $36,000 a year. That is more, I mean, that is less money than a lot of people make flipping burgers per year. That is less money than I'm sure all of you make at your jobs that you put 40 hours a week in. 40 hours. You make more than $36,000 a year. But I'm sure Jake Moore puts way more than 40 hours a week in for this town, among other things that he does. Tell me how that makes sense. If we need a new attorney, why did you call a special meeting on a Friday night at 7 p.m.? so that no one knew. Mayor, I'm not sure if you're friends with the new attorney that you're trying to reelect, but I think that you all need to take, you don't want to debate, so please don't answer. I'm sure that you guys want to take into consideration what's going on here. Lastly, I ask for a revote. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Michael Lazeski. I live at 235 Torrington Road in Irmo. Obviously, what I believe is well-spoken and well-intended efforts have already been made, so I don't mean to reiterate or be redundant in any way. Main item, of course, is speaking concerning number 4B. The question of dollar amount, I think it's fairly clear. I think more importantly would be the qualifications, which, at least from review of their own efforts through websites, not only personally but through the law firm's websites, do not seem to equate to what a town of ours would require. With that, it's inevitable to discuss the nature of this meeting and the nature of a meeting that's held in this fashion. And over 100 years ago, our Congress did a similar thing around Christmas time and brought in a popular Federal Reserve that now a lot of people are questioning right now. So the nature of a meeting, not well advertised, at a time and a day that is questionable for a good debate. I encourage you all, as new members of this council and of existing members of this council who have been here serving our city, our town, that we all admire, care for, and want to see prosper, not be limited or hurt in any way, financially or our reputation. So I encourage you all to do the right thing today and at least table this to a better time. I know your time is valuable. I know the time of those who have attended here today is valuable. And I'm sure those people who don't always give the consideration to come here today to think somebody else is going to do the job for them and look out for them, which I believe is you all. So please do that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, next item on the agenda is the approval to establish the, point of order, Mayor. What is your point?
It's been pointed out that the agenda is not in the proper order. Irmo Town Code Section 2-64 states the proper format for our agendas. Is there some reason why we don't have the other items on this agenda, such as receipt of communications? Because I do have some receipt of communications privy to this meeting to share with the council.
The agenda format we're using here is the same agenda format we use for every special call meeting. It doesn't have all the other stuff on there, never has. We're doing the same one. The agenda that's in your manual is the one that we use for our regular scheduled meeting, and this is the one that we've been using for years for these special call meetings.
Mr. Mayor, point of order, sir. You said that this is not the agenda. Section 2-64 of the Irmo Town Code specifically states that the Irmo's format for the meetings are spelled out. Now, if you're going to ignore that, that's fine to say you're going to ignore that, but that's not the proper format for the agenda.
It's the same format that we've used in all prior special call meetings.
I don't know about that, Mr. Mayor, but I know that this is not the proper format for this meeting.
It's the same one that we've used. So, it is the same one we've used for years.
So, forget about the ordinance.
We're going to do the same thing we've done in all special meetings. Never been complained about, never been argued about.
So we're going to ignore the ordinance
We're
and
going
not do
to
it
do the
proper
same
order.
thing that we've done in all special call meetings, which is this same format right here.
All special call.
Mr. Mayor, if he has some communications communication
And
pertaining.
that's fine, if you want to share it, if it's a communication. Consideration of communication is exactly that, it's something that you want to share with others. It's not something that you want to debate, ask questions or anything, it's just a communication you want to share. If you want to do that real quickly, that's fine, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. So you want to call for that section, or do I
No,
just say?
I'll just let you make your consideration of communication.
Okay. New council members, Pouliot and Mr. Waits, did y'all get your code book?
Yes.
Remember, this is
Got your
a
code book?
sharing, not a question.
Well, I'm asking them if they got the code book, because what I'm
You
going
can
to
do
share
that
with
at the
you.
time before the meeting or after the meeting.
Well, I'm sharing this communications with them. I want to know if they're familiar with the code book, that's all. The code book in section 2-32 of our Irmo code book, it clearly states that we have a council form of government, otherwise known as a weak mayor system. The mayor has no formal authority outside of the council. The mayor cannot appoint, remove officials, and lacks veto powers over council votes. As such, the mayor's influence is solely based on personality in order to accomplish the desired goals. Now, I want to let you guys know that because there's been some confusion on whether or not this is a strong mayor form of government or what we call a weak mayor form of government.
Was there confusion?
I thought there was some confusion back and forth because it was, to me, which I want to make sure you guys are clear that this is what the form of government is. Okay, so you're understanding that this is a strong council form.
And again, this is not an open debate, this is just a sharing of whatever communication you want to share.
Okay. So, knowing that, and knowing that the order of the agenda is out of order, that's, those two things in itself is a problem, but I'll go on until we get to the section where I want to actually intimate this some more. Okay? That's all I have.
So, approval to establish the Irmo talent pool with special application. Is there a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion.
And a second? I will second.
Was this by any chance taken from another?
Yeah, and I was going to explain that. I was in Lexington 2 weeks ago, maybe, I think it was, I'm not sure. They had a mayor's meeting over there, and I asked Mayor McDougal on what they did as far as getting names for vacancies on their commission. And he mentioned they had a talent pool, which I went to speak to Becky, who is their town clerk. And she was out, I spoke to Karen, and she said, yes, they have what they call a talent bank, or talent pool. And they have this application, which this is the same one that they have, except it had town Lexington on it. And I got them to email me stuff, and I emailed it to Bob to have him look at it. They also have a place on their website called boards, commission, committees, something to that effect. People can go on there at any time of the week, any time of the month, any time of the year, and see what vacancies are on their committees. And then they can download this thing, fill it out, and fax it back in. And they keep them, I think, for 2 years. And being that we were in the process of filling vacancies on our planning and infrastructure commission, and I thought that would be a good idea. I also spoke to Jeff Shacker at the Municipal Association, and he said they did it in Newberry as well, and a lot of places did it. So I thought it was something good that we could do. And it just adds for basic information, but when you get the applications or the names from people, sometimes you'll get resumes, sometimes you'll get a letter, sometimes you'll get this. This kind of puts it all in the same format, so it's easy to kind of, and then it asks them what committees they want to work on, and it asks a little bit of generic information about what volunteer activity that they've done, what kind of work experience that might be related to that. And they keep it on file for 2 years, so instead of them advertising when they have vacancies, they go to that pool first, pull up stuff and look, and if they got people in there that want to serve in those, whatever committees it is, then they contact them and make sure they still want to serve, and if so, then they submit it to the town council for approval, whatever. And I thought this would be something good for us to do. Bob said he could put it on our website, and I think eventually make it to where somebody could go online and download it or fill it out online and then just whatever, instead of having to fax it and all like that. But I wanted us to make that decision before he went ahead and did all that. So since we were having this meeting, then I felt like I should go ahead and put that on there too, so that he can go ahead and implement this if y'all desire. And then once those names start coming in from people on the town and orchestra or whatever, then they could use this, possibly if we get it in there in time, I don't know. But even if we don't have it for that, then we could have it in there for future.
Well, it certainly is a problem coming up with names. We've had several times when we could not come up with a name. If everyone thinks this will expedite things, it's fine with me.
I'd just like to ask, Mayor, I'd like to ask, are we planning on keeping this in a digital format, in a digital base, so you can search? Excellent.
Yes, and next plan is to put it on the website where people can go and actually, fill it out online without having to download it and fill it out and fax it back.
In that way, if we're looking for a special committee and we see that we need certain characteristics, it will be able to search on that.
Right.
I mean, in my experience, hiring people, there's often several names when you're trying to fill a position. There's often several names that come up, and you say, wow, any one of these three people could do this. I've got to decide on one, but boy, I'm going to keep these two. Yeah,
Just in
it
case.
just makes sense. It just makes sense.
And I had run into Larry Slaughter, who used to serve on our orchestra. Well, in fact, he still helped this year. But he introduced me to a gentleman outside his tax place that had given his name to serve on our planning commission, I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I couldn't remember, but he said he didn't get chosen or something like that, and I told him I thought we had some vacancies coming back up. And I asked Bob to see if we could find this information, and couldn't. So I had to get back in touch with Larry and try to see if he could remember who it was, which we did, and then get him to give me that guy's phone number, or he called him and let him know that he could. So this will, at least we'll have something to keep on file for multiple years. And, I think they do it for 2, and we said 2, but we can do it for longer. I don't know, maybe 2's good enough time that people don't move out of town or change or whatever.
Well, I mean, as council continues to change, perhaps there are some people that wouldn't necessarily serve because they don't like the particular makeup of the council. And then when the council changes, maybe they decide to jump in. So I think, again, a bank like this does make sense.
Any more discussion?
I have a problem with it because you were saying you want to pick names of 5 or 8 people that filled out this application and have it on file for 2 or 3 years, whatever. And you're going to basically ostracize the other 13,000 residents during that period that may want to, find an interest to serve on a committee. We presently, when we have a vacancy, we have a vacancy now on the orchestra and the planning commission, we advertise in the paper and we do word of mouth and we have people come out and, apply for these things. If you're saying that this is going to wait to get more people, what's the difference between advertising to the general public, all 13,000 residents, and see if we have somebody who's interested, or having just a few of your friends that you want to get on particular boards and commissions? I think that's ostracizing the other residents and it's basically evil. So I don't have any understanding how you can sit there and tell us that, we don't have to advertise anymore for vacancies. We won't advertise anymore for vacancies if we go to that. How will anybody know that there is a vacancy? And Mr. Pouliot, you're a classic example. You moved here 2 years ago. You know, if you're not on the list, you wouldn't have known that there was a vacancy or an opportunity to run for council. And so, you know, you did it, you took advantage of it and did it. So I just don't, you know, I think you're gonna instead of going the positive way of soliciting more applications and giving it open to more people to apply, you're gonna keep it small and select. And when a certain number of people that you have pre-selected on this talent pool that you're calling it will be available or eligible to become members of our commissions and boards.
I don't think this is discriminatory in any way.
I didn't say discriminatory, you said that. I said ostracizes people from participating.
Okay.
So get the words right, don't call it
Aren't we
discriminatory.
gonna do both?
You can do both. You can also, we have a listserv, it can be sent out on listserv every 3 months. We can also, because it's on our website, anybody's going to our website will be able to look and go, oh, boards and committees. So it's on there all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days
I
a week.
think we ought to advertise though, continue to advertise as we have in the past. I think we ought to
Do both.
do both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree.
That's possible, right,
Oh,
Bob?
yeah. You can do it all.
Well,
Oh, he's taking minutes, I'm sorry.
No, what I said was it would eliminate the need to have to do so, not that we have to, not have to stop. You can, but
So
like
you
I
just
told
said-
Bob,
I just said what I said.
like I told Bob, it would go out on the listserv probably every 2 or 3 months. I mean, you go to town of Lexington's right now, they'll show you, they got 2 vacancies, 1 vacancy, no vacancy, whatever. But people go to that all the time, and I think she said they had 50 or 60 names in their talent bank. So,
I doubt we're gonna get 50 or 60,
No.
but I hope we get some, but I think we ought to do both. If we don't
yeah, I
want to
think
leave
when
out
you first start,
anybody.
It's hard enough to
Go
get
on.
you're doing both, once you get X amount of names in there.
We need
you probably-
everybody we can get.
But I think it gives you a way of keeping those names for a long period, and, you know, I don't know what you're talking about as far as my friends or anything, the thing goes out,
I didn't hear it, say it again,
the
please.
thing goes out, people,
I didn't hear what you said, so you didn't know what I was talking about.
I'm gonna finish my conversation, but
I didn't hear what you said,
I'm
speak
sorry.
up.
if you would be quiet while I talk, then you might. But anyway, the thing goes out, people respond to it. They may not know that there's any vacancy on there right now at all, but they know that they're asked to volunteer to put their name in, so it's in the pool. And then once something comes up, then it's available. But, any more discussion?
Say that again, I didn't understand what you just said, Mr. Mayor. Could you please
No, I'm not.
be specific about it?
Any more discussion?
The Irmo News is getting paid a fancy salary to advertise the vacancies we have open right now on the planning commission and the orchestra. They go out to what, almost 100,000 people a week, and
100,000?
we have, what, about 13,000 on our listserv. You know, I mean, the way to do it is to do it the way we've been doing it. Maybe if you have some people that you know personally that would qualify or would be interested in these positions, contact them and say there's a vacancy. But I don't think you need to have a list of people that you choose from and to have that be the only people that you use for.
Well, we didn't
for
say
the
only, and I think you're
Mr.
confused.
Mayor, you said that no advertising of any vacancies would occur. It
I
would
did
be-
not. I said you would.
You wanna play
get to
back the
point where
tape?
you have
You
to-
said that no vacancies with advertising would occur if you had this talent pool. And that's what I'm saying is evil about this thing. You can't say that you're not gonna advertise outside of this, you know, if you're not in the talent pool, you're not gonna advertise to the general public to say that there's a vacancy. Because there may be somebody that's not in the talent pool that wants to do it. Now, Mr. Condon says, do both, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Now, we're gonna put more burden on Bob and his office staff. Now you gotta keep up with the Irmo News, paper article, the normal Irmo newspaper people that come in through that route to ask and apply for vacancies. Plus, you gotta keep up with the ones on the talent pool bank listserv or whatever. I mean, if you wanna do double, if you wanna create more work for our staff, that's fine. Let's create more work for them. But I still say you're gonna, if you have solely go by the talent bank, and what you're calling a talent bank or talent pool, and use this as your only source to fill vacancies on the Irmo Town Council boards and commissions, then you're gonna ostracize the other 13,000 residents who may be wanting to do this, so.
Any more discussion?
Councilman, that's not what he said.
Councilman Walker, yes,
Yes.
that's what he said, that's what I heard him say.
Well, I think you misheard, sir.
I
He said,
have this
this is another avenue that we have to pull people who have displayed an interest. This, let's face it, I don't know if you get the newspaper anymore. There's many people that don't get the newspaper. They get their news from the internet. They get their news digitally. This is just a new way, an additional way, for us to get more citizens involved. My kids will tell me I'm a dinosaur because I still want paper in front of me. My kids don't have paper in front of me. I bet you Barry Gus doesn't either, because they're in a different world. And you know what? We need those minds. We need those fresh minds. This is just another way. Really, I believe this is just another way to get more people involved.
A talent pool is another way to get people involved.
By developing a talent pool, by having people say, hey, I'm interested. Here's my resume. Here's what I'm good at. Here are my talents. And yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, why don't we put off 13,000 residents of Irmo in the talent pool?
Well,
And find
here's
out
the
what they wanna
thing.
do.
Here's the
I mean,
thing, Councilman.
I don't want you to, I don't want you to.
No, he was talking, you were.
Here's the thing. People who fill this out, people who go online and fill this out, have expressed that they want to get involved. That's the first step. You want to get people who express their interest.
Point of information.
He is not approved,
Point of
you're not got the
information.
floor, no.
Point of
he is-
information, Mr. Speaker. The information is, I'm not saying that the people. I'm just
He
saying
has
that
the
people-
floor, that's not a point of information, that's a point of
Point of
information
information.
situation.
Well,
Please continue.
go back to Robert's Rule of Order.
I'm ready, Councilman, if you want to debate this. I don't think there's really any debate. We're not leaving this as the only manner for people to express an interest. This is just an additional manner. This is a new manner. This is a manner that I believe today's youth are going to get involved. It's just another way.
I think we have to use every avenue, and I'm not trying to pile work on town, I'm really not.
That's fine.
But young people might be more disposed to this. People my age are gonna read the paper and see that, that's the difference in the age group. But I think we need it all, because right now, we're having a terrible time filling the planning commission. So I'd like every way possible, even if it's not this detailed on the website, a name and a phone number would be, we could take it from there. This is
You're gonna hold
good.
that For 2 or 3 years, or 2 years, you want more information, so you can pull it up sometime. And Bob can go through it, here's 6 people that want to serve on this committee.
If we get 6, we're doing good, because it's like pulling that teeth. But
Councilman, I will tell you that I will not vote to approve if this was the only manner in which we do this.
no, that's right.
So, we ready to vote?
So what is the manner we're gonna do this? Is this gonna be both or just this one?
I think right now, all Bob is doing is getting this application,
That's it.
putting it on the computer, and putting a page, or whatever you call it.
So what about the other way we've been doing it through the
Yeah.
early news? Are we gonna continue doing it
I
now?
think you asked me one question, I hadn't finished answering. Then Bob would have the page, and people could look on that page and see whatever's on there as far as a vacancy. And then they would say, hey, I'm interested in serving on one of these. They'd fill out the form. Right now, they gotta download it, fill it out, fax it back. Eventually, they can do it online, and then.
Right, they want to set it up so it's an interactive, fill it out online document.
And we've already advertised for the stuff that's going on right now, I think.
But we will continue to do the old way too.
Well, we've advertised the 2 openings for planning
I know,
commission.
I'm just saying that,
Paper,
we don't want to,
And
listserv, website.
And
Yeah.
I'm shutting the doors.
Right. And in the years past, we've advertised in the papers and got nothing, so for all that 13,000 people that read it and get it, it's not brought a whole lot of names, or they don't want to serve, we don't know.
No, I think we need to.
This is just a way of opening it up to other people and storing those names so that we have them at a later date. Because we really don't have a good way of keeping them.
And you want to store them digitally, because now you can search. If you want someone who's musically involved, boom, you say music, and boom, you're going to get whoever has expressed that interest.
We need some
If
musicians
you,
on the
if you
planning.
put that,
It might help, it might help.
if you put that on in the newspaper saying, look for somebody musically involved, you'll have the same result. You might not have the same impact. You might not have the same impact, but you'll have the same result. You know,
Councilman,
I
I am not voting, sir.
He has the ability to put it on the website now. He has the ability to put it on Facebook. We have a Facebook page in the town. People who have smartphones get that Facebook posting.
And I think we ought to continue that too, because that is effective with me,
Yeah, I mean, those type
as
of
the
things.
newspaper.
But when you say a talent pool, to me, that limits the availability of people to serve on boards and commissions. We have a pool, okay, that says that nobody else that's not this pool can be picked to be on the planning commission.
That's not true, because anybody can make a nomination at the meeting, anybody.
I think if we equate this to a phone book, I've got a phone book at home. When Mark moved to Irmo, I put his name in my phone book. There's a whole lot more spaces for more keys to go in my phone book. If he moves out of town, I'll scratch through his name or change his phone number, but he's not being eliminated from consideration when I want to call somebody. So we have a pool, and we continue to advertise in the newspaper. You're covering both sides.
So you want to call this a phone book instead of a talent?
No, I'm just comparing it to a phone book.
So that's what we should call it, a phone book, or instead of a talent bank or a pool.
Well, you can call it what you want, but I mean, it's trying to
We're calling
recruit,
it talent pool.
it's trying to recruit people who volunteer to serve on committees in the town and serve on commissions in the town. And if, say we have 4 vacancies, and we have
Excuse me, Mr. Glassmeyer, you want to sit back in the chair back there, please? Thank you. Stop interrupting our council meeting.
If we have 3 people who apply,
Yeah,
and we still have 4 vacancies,
yes.
and we get no more applications.
Okay, but
Do we close the door and say, well, we just won't worry about another person to fill this 4th vacancy? Or,
of course not.
hey, we've got this list here that we've compiled over the last 3 years. Let's look in here and see who fits this square hole, so to speak. We'll find a square person to fit in the square hole.
Right, of course not. But again, you're saying he calls it a talent pool in the agenda, and here it's called a talent bank. And to me, when you're saying that this is a pool or a bank, that's the only people that will be selected to fill the vacancies. Now, if you're saying it's open, this is only going to be a phone book like you called it, I have no problem with that at all.
That's my
That's have no problem,
interpretation.
so call it a talent phone book then, or a phone book or information book. But again, if you're gonna do that, I say you should go ahead and open it up and get every 13,000 residents that live in Irmo, put their names in this phone book. And just be able to call them and say, hey, you want to.
How do you know which ones have what talents until you call them?
That's what I'm saying, you've got the information here on each one of the persons in the
If
city.
they give you the information, you
Right.
have it.
Correct.
So that's what this is.
So
This
this
is
is
a
not a-
solicitation for people to put their name in the hat.
So advertise for it, say, I would like
Well, I'm
to put
saying
your name
you
on
are.
it. But don't call it a pool or a bank or, you know.
I'm going to call the question, we've had enough discussion. Is there a second to that?
To what?
To vote on this?
Just a minute. Okay. if
No,
we-
wait, he
No, 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 I-
he called for
no.
a question, you have to answer it. Is there a second?
No, because I don't know what okay. If we change the name of this, you be okay with it?
Absolutely.
Change the name, Hardy.
Well, it's called bank on there, it's called pool on here. This has got nothing to do with what it's called.
I know, but it would end this discussion, and that,
So I'll call the question. Is there a second?
all right, second.
All in favor of voting? All in favor then of approval of item A to establish.
Wait a minute, what was the vote on the question?
Um,
What was the vote on the question?
Okay, all in favor, maybe we did. All in favor? All opposed? We'll call it a question.
I'm
not-
still changing the title.
So was there three? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we're voting.
I didn't vote on it, you didn't ask for.
Now we're voting on the approval to establish the Irmo Talent Pool, Bank, Phone Book, Box
Phone
Book,
book.
whatever you want to call it.
Talent book, talent book,
With
Talent
special
book.
application.
right?
Talent book.
Talent book, Carl,
All in favor?
of the talent book,
What do you call it?
talent book.
Mark. All opposed?
No, I'm not, talent book, got it.
I'm cool with that.
So
Thank
you're
you.
forward?
Yeah.
Talent.
All right. Next item is approval to appoint Eric Hill with Clarkson Law Firm, LLC, as the town attorney on an hourly fee not to exceed $200 an hour. I'm going to make a motion. We'll get a second, and then I'm going to make a statement since I made the motion. So I make a motion to approve Eric Hill with Clarkson Law Firm at $200 an hour. Is there a second?
I second.
All right. First of all, to ease some concerns for people about how much is this going to cost, we have no clue. No one in the audience has a clue. Nobody up here has a clue. How many hours we are going to use this attorney? It is more than likely possible that it can run from anywhere from 12 to 20 hours on average. We are going to do this, is what I am proposing. We're going to do this on a 4-month time frame, I think it is. We have 3 months without any jury trials or anything that the attorney will be needing for anything in the jury room or in the courtroom. That will give us a good idea of how many hours a month we use an attorney. It is more likely possible that if we do the $4,000 a month flat fee, that we can come out ahead doing the $200 right now. In March, I think it is, we have a court date for jury trial.
Next round of juries, yes.
Yeah. At that time, we'll find out how many hours it takes to do that stuff on a typical month. But the best me and Bob can look and calculate and everything else, and again, that's a best guess as to everything else, we're looking at somewhere between 12, 15, 20 hours. At 20 hours a month, that'd be $4,000. We have the opportunity with this guy to switch it anytime we want to a flat fee. We are hoping that after 4 months of averaging, and one of the parts of this too is that nobody's going to contact this attorney. The attorney is not going to get paid from anybody unless it goes through Bob, which will limit everybody calling him and asking some kind of question or whatever. Bob can keep up with the hours. Bob can track the hours. He can track the hours. And then at the end of that 4 months, we can determine, is this a $2,000 a month attorney, $3,000 a month, $4,000 or $5,000? Put that flat fee into the budget for July 1st, and then we'll be set to go. It's not a, whatever. It may be that at the end of the 3 months, he tells us he's not interested in doing it. It may be at the end of 3 months, we tell him we're not interested in doing it. He's also said that if we get to that point that it's not working out, then he will work with us until we find another. He's real flexible. That's the main thing I like about him. I do not know him other than the 2 conversations I had with him. His name was given to us. He has worked in our town. He's done stuff in our courtroom. And I think Chief Nates has been pleased with the work he's done for the town in the courtroom. So as far as any municipal experience with any attorney, you can call all of them you want to, and I guarantee none of them have it. The ones that do are working somewhere, the other ones aren't. We can sit here and discuss the quality and all those other things about our previous attorney and the hours and all that, but I'm not going to sit here and do that. If somebody else wants to sit here and do that, that's fine. We can be here till 10 o'clock at night. When I called this special meeting, we had the opportunity of waiting until next week, next 15th. We had the opportunity of waiting until next Tuesday. I checked with the other people to see what their schedule was like. Mark works on the other side of town, and trying to get here in Christmas Friday traffic at 6 o'clock or 6:30 was iffy. So we said we're going to do it at 7. It's on the listserv. It went out in the Irmo News. It went out in the state newspaper and other places. So It went to all the sources it's supposed to go, just like every other meeting we had. In fact, there's more people here tonight than we have at a normal meeting any time of the year. So I think more people knew about this meeting than they do most, or they care more about this meeting than they do most. But we are not trying to have a secret meeting. We're trying to resolve something as quick as possible so that we do have an attorney if we need one. And as far as it being $69,000 to $70,000 a year, I could sit here and say it's going to be $10,000. We don't know, and that's the honest to goodness truth. We don't know how many hours our previous attorney spent for the town. We have a guess, we have an estimate, but we don't really know. And I'm guessing that we're probably going to spend somewhere around the same amount of money, maybe a little bit more. But this is the old saying too, you get what you pay for. We could have gone with $285 an hour, we could have gone with $4,500 flat fee. We could go with this guy for $4,000 flat fee. And it could be better to do that. If somebody wants to do that, majority wants to do that, we switch it. But I still think if we do the $200 for an hour for about 4 months, we will have a good idea. And then we can turn around at that time and negotiate a flat fee with the guy, if you like it, and all that good stuff, and go that route. So that's what I got to say. And I think, Mark, you seconded it. And I'm going to make this real clear. We're going to speak one at a time, no interruptions. Mark was seconded, he'll go next. If anybody else wants to speak, we'll go around the table, one at a time, and then when everybody gets through once, we'll go again. And when we get through with that, we're going to vote. So,
I'm going to try and answer you today, Ron. At the time I was sworn in, my wife and I were residents of this town for 2 years, 2 months, and 3 days. I sit here in the seat formerly occupied by a man that was born here and lived here his entire life. Yet, with such little time here, I was elected to this council. I serve today, and he does not. Why?
Because he didn't run for that seat. Sorry, you want an answer. He didn't run for that seat.
we're not going to have an open debate.
Okay,
We're
that's
not
why
gonna
he
have-
asked a question.
He's got the floor.
He didn't run that seat.
That's a rhetorical
Go
question.
ahead.
I am not so naive to think that people voted for Mark Pouliot. The voters of this town were not happy with the status quo. They voted for change. Now, change for the sake of change is not what this is about. All we want to do is keep what former councils here worked hard to do, keep the good, good. And we want to try to make things better. We want to try and make things better. I believe, and I think all council members are in agreement, that we all want to do what is best for this town. In my campaign, I spoke of service, and I believe I speak for all members of this council that service is what this is about. Now, I must tell you, those who attended the last meeting heard Mr. Marion Brown express his disappointment in the council for the vote of our attorney. He spoke of being told by Jake Moore to shut up and sit down. Yet he spoke in favor of Mr. Moore, and he said he did not have an issue with it. Well, I can tell you that I had an issue with it. Marion Brown is a hero in our community, a highly decorated Vietnam veteran with multiple Purple Hearts. I bristle not in hearing that this war hero was told to sit down and shut up. I bristle because a resident, a homeowner, a taxpayer.
Point of information, Mayor.
No.
Oh, we were talking about Mr. Brown or Mr. Moore.
He
In
is
our
talking about
community,
Mr. Hale.
He has.
Well, we're talking about Eric Hale.
In-
I haven't heard one
in
thing
our
about
community
the
was
subject
told-
on the table.
He has the floor.
Mr. Mayor,
He has the floor.
I call for a point of information.
Yeah.
Speak about, okay.
Go ahead, continue.
in our community was told in a public forum by an employee of this town to sit down and shut up. I do not care what the circumstances were. Had I been in council at that time, I would have called for Mr. Moore's immediate dismissal. We are here because they voted, you, voted for us to serve. Every employee in this town is to serve our residents. We work for the residents of this town. I work for you. When have you ever known a servant to admonish his boss and keep his job? I am voting today for a new attorney because our residents have voted for change. This attorney will never be biased. Not allowed. Bias has no right in an attorney. Lady Justice wears that blindfold. All we're asking for the attorney to do is to advise us legally what we should and should not do. Give us direction. It's plain and simple. Our residents have the right to say anything they want to us, and we are the ones to sit down and shut up. And while doing so, perhaps we can also open our ears, listen, and learn something. I have, and that's why I'm voting for change.
Thank you.
Where do I start? Thank you, I have the floor, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much for letting me speak on this issue of spending $200 an hour for a new attorney. Several years ago, the town had an attorney, Danny Crow, who was paid by the hour. The firm was paid $60,000 for services. Jake was paid $35,000. I don't know what the hourly rate was, but it was on an hourly basis. Based on that attorney we had on an hourly basis, we can certainly say that an hourly basis with no cap is the wrong thing to do. We can certainly say that paying somebody $200 an hour who you don't have a clue who they are, and I guess Mr. Pouliot has an idea who this guy is. I don't know who this guy is. I don't have a clue who this guy is. I just got a resume here in front of me, presented to me tonight in front of this special meeting of what Mr. Hale's qualifications are. And on there, it says he does civil litigation and general practices, criminal and general practice. To me, we need an attorney that will be able to handle the municipal government side of this town, to be able to help us write ordinances, which is what Mr. Moore did, to help us with any kind of legal matters which come up, which Mr. Moore did, to handle our court proceedings with our police officers when they have DUI cases, which Mr. Moore did, for a fixed price of about $3,000 a month is what I understand, okay? Now, how in the world would you even consider, Mr. Mayor, putting on a person who you don't even know, you said you didn't know who he is, or have a clue what he is, or what he's done, and put him on the agenda and say, this is the guy we're going to elect as our new town attorney. And I haven't, is Mr. Hale here tonight? I don't even think he's here tonight, is he? Mr. Hale's not here tonight. So now I haven't even seen the guy here to interview him personally. The right thing to do is to put it out and let me talk to this person and find out what his qualifications are. Now, Mr. Pouliot, you talked for a diatribe about, vocal about Mr. Moore and what he didn't do and what he made you mad about and what you would have done, you know, supposedly if you were on council, and how the people voted you in to replace the person that sat at that particular seat. Well, Mr. Pouliot, the people voted you in not to be frivolous with their money. The people voted me in not to be frivolous with their money. They voted me in, and you, and Mr. Waits, and Mr. King, and Mrs. Condon, to be as thriftful as we can and to run this town as efficiently as we can, which we have done for the last 13 years I've been on this council. Remember now, we do not have a town tax. We do not generate any town taxes from any of the people that voted for me. We get our revenue from business licenses and fees from parking tickets and fines and stuff. That's how we run this town. And to be able to do it as efficiently as we do it, I've been to the Municipal Association convention. I can tell you that there are other towns that are in awe of how Irmo can pull it off.
That's true.
They are in awe. How can you do it? How can you have no millage rate and be able to run a town of $5 million efficiently? But we do it, okay? We do it because we don't spend $70,000 for a job that pays $35,000. We do it because we sit down and we evaluate the people that are applying for these jobs, and we say, okay, if you want to be the town attorney, great. What's your qualifications? Are you familiar with municipal law? Are you familiar with how to write ordinances? Are you familiar with the criminal law system in Irmo? I mean, you don't have to be an expert, but I'm not going to pay somebody $200 an hour to learn how to do the job that he's supposed to already know how to do. And I can tell you, you say that, you know, Mr. Mayor, you say that, oh, you don't know what the fee's going to be. I can tell you that sitting right here in this council meeting, let's see, we've been here for an hour, and it costs us $200 to have that attorney here to sit in our council meeting right now. And it'll probably be another $100, $200 by the end of this council, this special meeting that you just called. Okay? So it would cost, you say it won't, oh, you don't know what it's going to be, it won't be much, it won't be maybe 10,000, you don't know. I can safely estimate it will be more than $35,000 a year fixed. And any logical person would see that and say that that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, again, Mr. Hale, he might be a fine attorney. The Clarkston Law Firm might be a fine law firm. I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't care if these guys are the best lawyers in the world. I need to know, as a voting member of the Council of Irmo, South Carolina, who I'm voting for, and not get a one-sheet resume. You know, the night of the council meeting, special council meeting, when I asked specifically for this issue to be put on the next agenda, okay? So we've had a chance to vet out and tell the folks, tell the people what we're looking for in a town attorney and how much we're willing to pay, and see what we get. Maybe we won't get anybody. Maybe we'll get somebody that says, well, I can't do it for $36,000, but I can do it for $40,000. Well, maybe that's something, I consider that. But at least I'll know I've done the people's will by going out there and found the best value for our dollar, and not pick somebody because he's your buddy, or because you don't know him, or because you know him and you don't know him. I don't know. I'm not comfortable throwing away the town's money that way. And anybody up here should be comfortable doing that also.
Well, initially, when Mr. Hale's name was put before us, he was supposedly was going to do it for a flat fee or an hourly fee. And I said then, flat fee. I want to know what the rules are going into the game. I want to know what it's going to cost me. My dad's side of the family was Scotch and English and Irish, and I've got a little Scotch in me. I'm not going to spend the money if I don't have to. We had another law firm that had a flat fee of charging $200 less than Mr. Hale's flat fee, $25 an hour more than Mr. Hale's flat fee, but it was a larger firm, and he also said that he had partners that he could have, if the case did not warrant his attention, they could use one that would get $190 an hour, or they could even go down to a paralegal or a law clerk for $90 an hour. if that was what we wanted. But this is a large law firm. And what he did not have any experience in his, 14 years with this firm, and I forget how many years he was in Atlanta and DeKalb County and Decatur Development Authority. So he had the municipal experience. That's why I put his name forward. I'm not in favor of paying by the hour. That's my bottom line. If we were paying an attorney a reasonable amount of money and a flat fee, and we knew what we were going to get, if he was going to be here 24 hours, then you better do a better job and not be here 24 hours. Do it in 8 hours. But if it's going to be 24 hours and you're going to charge $200 an hour, I don't like that. That's just like hiring a painter, and I hate to pick on painters, but many years ago I worked for Sherwin-Williams Company. A painter would say, I'll paint this room for, how about if I do it for $2 an hour? Bam, $2 an hour. It's going to take, man, how many gallons of paint? That's a deal. But then the guy comes in and he's dragging his feet, he puts his ladder down, he has to shake his paint up, and he starts opening the can, he spills some on the side of the can, he cleans that up. I got to go back to the truck and get a special brush. Pretty soon he spent 6 hours and he hadn't even dipped his brush in the paint. I'm for flat fees. I'm sorry, that's wrong. I've been wrong before. But I agree with the young lady. I don't want to go and not know what's going to happen.
No one called me and asked me if I could come to this meeting Friday night at 7. I mean, I got an email that there was going to be a meeting, and that's it. I guess some of us aren't important anymore. I guess. I don't know.
Nobody told me either, so.
I'm here, but I certainly wasn't called in advance. But the other question that I have to ask, because we had a 3-way tie going Tuesday night. I understand, I believe, why Jake was eliminated, I think. But what happened to Finkel? I mean, that's a huge law firm. Those people called me twice today to ask for support in this because they obviously want the job. And on another plane, I do most of my heavy political work in Kroger.
Kroger?
Yes. And if you go there on Wednesday, you will see everybody who has an opinion. I'm serious. I'm not joking about this. I go Tuesday and Wednesday sometimes to get caught up. But I was asked more questions Wednesday and today about, y'all ask every attorney in Irmo if they wanted to do it? And I went, no. They said, do you know there are 10 attorneys in Irmo paying you a business license that should have been asked? And I said, no, I didn't know that. I hadn't even thought of Todd Ellis. I mean, he's in Irmo. He pays us a business license. And Morris, I got names all day. I'm not sure we've done an exhaustive search. I have nothing against this man. I wouldn't know him if he walked in the door. I'm reading his resume, fine. I looked at his webpage, fine. I don't know whether this is a good value for our money or not. But I also agree, I want a flat fee. There's no way to budget for $200 an hour for an indefinite amount of hours. There's just no way. I can't see how it would be feasible to budget like that. Not the way we do it. Anyway.
Okay. Let me address a few of the things, and then we can vote on it as is. We can make some amendments to it or whatever. First of all, I want to say no one called me back for the November 17th special call meeting either. Never got a call from him.
I sent you this email.
I never got a call about whether I could be there or not. Never. So, and that's happened many times in the past. It does. That's just part of life, but that's okay. I also want to say, as far as having a attorney that has any municipal experience, again, they're either already working with someone. So most of them, and I'm guaranteed Jake Moore didn't have municipal experience 35 years ago when he got hired. Most of them can attend the municipal association, attorney association, which he never attended either. A lot of them do. So there's places like that where they can get brought up to speed. The main thing they got to do is be here and give legal advice, not political advice, not policy making advice, and they can figure out the stuff. I can tell you right now, we had our previous attorney give us some advice on video poker years ago, saying it was okay, saying he wrote the law for the people in Georgia. It was okay. State Supreme Court Attorney General said no, it wasn't. He also gave us some advice on Rose Oak subdivision a couple of years ago about some kind of change over in the zoning, and said, oh yeah, we can do that. The Supreme Court said, oh no, you can't. That's spot zoning. Said no. He also gave us some advice 4 years ago when I got sworn in how I need to do a letter of resignation. It took me 15 minutes to call another attorney and ask him, and the guy said, no way. He sent me the stuff over, and I gave it to Jake Moore that said he didn't know what he was talking about after he spent hours giving us research in a letter. So, you know, we can sit here and talk all day about somebody's experience, but I can recall those three things off the top of my head right there. Whether we hire this individual or not, or another, whether we do it on a flat fee or not, the only thing I was suggesting was that we do it at $200 an hour for 4 months to kind of get a better idea on the field of how many hours. If we pay him $4,000 a month, which he said he'll do, I don't have a problem with that. But I don't think we'll ever figure out whether we're overpaying or whether we're getting a good deal. We can probably, and based on my conversation with him, if we want to do a $200 an hour for no more than $4,000 a month for 4 months and get a feel, I think he'd be agreeable to that. We can change it. We can make an amendment to this right now that says we're going to amend that to $4,000 flat fee. $4,000 flat fee. If someone wants to do that, we can do that. Or we can just add to it that it's going to be $200 an hour for a maximum of $4,000 a month. I think the main thing is we need to figure out how many hours we actually need an attorney. There's no law anywhere that says an attorney ever has to show up in this meeting. If we have stuff on our agenda that we don't think we need him for, he don't need to be here. A lot of places don't. A lot of towns don't have attorneys. They hire them when they need them for certain cases, but they don't because they can't afford it. There's nothing that says we got to have one at all.
You said $4,000 an hour, or
No,
$4,000 flat fee?
200 an hour up to 4,000 a month.
Oh, okay.
If somebody wants to make that amendment, we can make that amendment.
Okay, I make that amendment.
Wait a minute.
So, what's your amendment?
Wait a minute.
No,
Wait a minute.
she got the floor. $200 an hour.
$200 an hour at a maximum
$4,000
limit
a month.
of 4,000 a month.
You said that you talked to this guy right now?
I will second that.
Did you say you would talk to this guy? I mean, where's this coming from? The guy says he wants $200 an hour.
Wait a minute,
And we're changing his fee structure?
I said we were going to speak one at a time. We're on this right now. We're amended.
Well, you spoke twice, and I didn't get a second chance to speak.
We're on this
So I'm
amendment
asking
right here.
him, if we're on this amendment, how can you change this guy's fee structure? He told you, I want $200 an hour. How can you change his fees, what he's asking for in a
Somebody
meeting? and
said 4,000 a month.
He did. That's what, the mayor said that. That's what I'm saying, where that number come from. I don't understand it. The guy says, I want $200 an hour. It's on our agenda as $200 an hour. And now you're saying, no, we're gonna change it to $4,000 a month? Up to $4,000 a month? Well, that's not what he is, that's not what the guy is asking for.
No.
He's asking for $200 an hour with a minimum.
If
not
you'd
to
like me to
exceed.
answer a question, I will.
I'm not asking you to answer the
Okay,
question.
fine.
Okay? He says he wants $200 not to exceed $200 an hour. He didn't say anything about a
No, he
cap
didn't say
or
that.
anything.
I said that.
Did you meet with this guy or not? Did you
I
meet
said
with
that.
Eric Hale?
I filled this out right here.
Did you meet with Eric Hale to negotiate this or not? If you met with Eric Hale and I didn't get an opportunity to do it, I have a problem with that.
You have a problem with a lot of stuff, and that's fine and that's understandable. But to go back to this,
So you met with him and negotiated a fee and didn't do it with
I
council?
didn't say that. And I'm going to finish, and you can keep putting words in somebody else's mouth.
Well, you just,
No.
I'm asking what you're saying. We got a motion on the table to amend this, to amend
So
this.
do you want me to answer that question, or do you want to keep on asking the same one all night long?
I'll keep asking the same one all night long, then, if you can't understand
You
the
don't want
question.
soda or anything? Movie?
No, but I do have a point to bring up. I didn't call anybody about that November meeting. We all answered by email. Don't you feel
I'm
slighted?
just saying,
Nobody
I
got
didn't
called.
get a call. Never got
You
a call.
said you called Mark about
I
this
did.
meeting. You didn't call any of the rest of
Because
us.
I know he lives on the other, or works
I
on the
just
other side
think
of
we
town.
need
over
some
there.
levity
So the
here.
question is, did y'all debate this already? Did you already meet with the guy and meet the, I haven't met this guy. I don't know who he is.
We walked in the door.
One at a time, who's got the floor? Are you through?
No, I want to know who this guy is. If you want to give him $4,000 a
Okay,
month,
so you
and you said that you didn't know who he was. Mark says he's going to meet with him, or he met with him. So, yeah, but I mean, that's what he said to you.
I don't think anybody's met with.
But that's,
All right,
but
we're
that's
gonna go
not
back to one at a
what we're
time.
voting
Has
on.
anybody met with?
Okay.
No, I talked to him on the phone.
Okay.
I think they talked to him on the phone.
Bob, have you met with?
I have never met him. He's been in our
Okay,
court
that's
3 or 4 times. I think Joe has seen him in court.
Joe's met with him.
I know all these attorneys are recommended.
Yeah, he got every one of them we recommended, and that's good. That's the main thing. The good thing is, too, none of us up here know him like the other attorney who represented half of us up here in court. Not half of us anymore, but half of them before. All right, so to answer some of these questions, which I'm guessing.
We got a motion on the table to amend this.
That's right, we do. We got a
Oh,
4,000.
yeah, most-
And to answer that question, no, I've never met the guy. I've talked to the guy. I was given his name. I talked to the guy on the phone.
How can you,
I've got the floor.
how can you not meet the guy you talked to?
I said I got the floor.
Did you understand?
And you gotta,
I never met the guy, but talked to him. Okay.
I'm also going to finish what I was saying a while ago. We're talking about frivolous tax money. I think you're the one that brought to the council a couple of years ago to pay somebody $1,500 a week to pick up pets in town that were running wild when the county already did it for nothing. You also brought up something a couple of years ago about buying a snowplow to scrape up the roads for a few days. So,
Did it pass?
We still
no, it
need
never
that
got
stuff.
off the record, but,
All right then, so what's the problem?
well, don't talk about frivolous tax money spending when,
Well, I'm talking about now, because you're already spending $4,000. We went from $2 an hour to $4,000 a month. That's
the
not.
gentleman told Bob $200 an hour or $4,000 a month is what he said.
And I just want to count.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's what we got on the table right now. Everybody in
So you-
favor of the $200
So you want
an
a
hour?
cap, let me understand this, Mr. Scott, you want a cap for paying somebody with somebody who you haven't met, you don't know their qualifications, you don't know if he has ability to do the government.
As I understand this, this is a
Well, you know-
90-day probation.
We'll pay,
Really?
Okay,
39
okay.
so we're gonna pay this guy $12,000 to learn how to do what we want to do.
That's not what we're paying.
For $4,000 a month?
So,
You do the math.
any more,
for 3
any more
months?
discussion? I'm calling the question.
Yeah, I just want to.
Okay, go ahead.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. In my line of work in the past, as an industrial engineer, what you do is you review the process and you measure the process. No one here has said yet what it's going to cost, how many hours. Hasn't been done. We don't know. We know that one attorney has worked for this town for 35 years. We don't know how much time he spent. We think we know what we know. This gives us the ability to measure. I think it's a worthwhile thing. This will allow you to measure what someone's doing, how many hours. Again, fiduciary responsibility to the residents. I believe we should measure it.
Are you in favor of the probation?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Puglia, you said you want to measure, nobody knows how much time the lawyer spent with us? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that no one here has presented to me an exact time that this is going to take.
Mr. Puglia, are you aware that the lawyer sat in that chair during our council meetings for however many hours it was?
Oh, yes.
Twice a month,
Yes.
roughly twice a month.
Yes.
And that lawyer also had representatives at all the court proceedings when he had DUI cases.
Okay.
And you're also aware that that lawyer had phone calls to the mayor on any issue, or any one of the council members, on any issue that may come up when we're writing ordinances.
Yes, but I understand that that's not gonna happen anymore.
Well, you don't know that, but.
No, I do know that,
No,
because
you
that's
don't know
exactly
that.
what the mayor said.
No, you don't know that. The mayor's not a unilateral body that makes that decision. You don't know if that's gonna happen. You
We
realize.
do know he's not getting paid if it doesn't go through Bob, that's what we do know, because that's
Where does it
part of
say
the
that?
agreement.
Where's that in the contract? There's no contract in front of me.
There is no
You don't
contract.
know what you're asking for. You don't know what the
We're gonna
criteria
vote
is.
on that, though.
You know what the
We're
criteria
gonna
is to
vote
vote
on it.
on. Vote on what? To pay somebody $4,000 a month to learn how to be a municipal.
You can
council?
steer this, Councilman, you can steer this any way you want.
Let me steer it.
Well,
That's
in
what
other
you
words, you're
said.
gonna put down exactly what you want him to do.
But have we done that? Have we done that as a
We didn't
council
have
in
that
all
with
the
the
time?
mayor, with the,
No, have we done that with Eric Hale is what I'm asking
Why
you.
are you
haven't done it with
yelling
Jake
at me,
Morris.
sir?
either.
Why are you yelling?
Why haven't you, because you're not listening. You are proposing to let this guy become an attorney for the town of Irmo, and we're gonna pay him $12,000 to learn how to be the attorney for Irmo.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Okay. If anybody doesn't see that out there, then I'm,
This man is not just out of law school, sir.
this man is, let me see.
He's not just out of law school.
Well, 2001, yeah, he's been around for about 15 years, sure. How long has the Finkel Law Firm been around? I mean, you know that better than I do,
Councilman, there's nothing to stop us in
1991.
120 days. There's
2000.
nothing to stop us if we don't like. Mr. Hill, there's nothing to stop us from
There's
changing.
nothing to stop us next month.
There you go.
They serve at the pleasure of the council, we can hire another
Probationary
one
thing. I like
2
that.
months from now, a month from now, 90 days tomorrow, it doesn't matter.
Well, I submit to you this, what if we put a criteria together and say, this is what we're looking for? An attorney that can handle municipal ordinances, writing municipal ordinances, the attorney can handle the things that we need to do, and we want it at a fixed rate of $36,000, or whatever number that we want to pick.
I've already spoke with them about all those duties and told every one of them the same thing, so.
But where's it at in writing in front of us, Mayor? It has
We're
not
gonna give
been
you the same
presented.
one we gave to Jake Moore.
Mr. Mayor,
Same
Mr. Mayor,
agreement,
all I
same-
got is and anybody can see this, a one-page resume of Eric Hale. It doesn't say anything about the Clarkston Law Firm or anything else about that. But, I mean, that's all you had. At least with the Finkel Law Firm, they gave us a little more background and told us about what they do and the different fee schedules. I don't have anything. I don't know what to vote on with this person. You're telling me all these things he's gonna do. Well, where's it at in writing? Where has it been put in writing that he's gonna do those things?
We're using the same form we have with Jake Moore.
What form? Show me the form we have with Jake. We got a form with Jake before?
I'm gonna call the
We've never had a
question, is
contract
there
with
a
Jake.
second?
I second.
Question's been called and second?
For the amendment.
Yes.
This
We-
is for the event.
For the amendments, $200 an hour, 4,000 max on a monthly basis. All in favor then of that amendment, do so with show of hands. All opposed? All right, so now we're at the approval to appoint Eric Hill with Clarkson Law Firm as a town attorney on an hourly fee not to exceed $200 an hour or $4,000 a month. We also have the agreement that we're all agreeing to, I'm assuming, that everything goes through Bob Brown, our town administrator.
I don't have that agreement. Where's
And
that
he doesn't
agreement?
get paid.
Where's that agreement at? Where's that agreement? I don't have that agreement in front of me. Where's
He
that
doesn't
agreement?
get paid from us unless Bob is the one that contacts him. So,
I'm sorry, I don't have that agreement in front of me. I can't, nobody in this council can vote on that.
yeah, we can.
Where's that agreement written at? I don't see anything written on there that says that.
It's not, it's a verbal agreement that we've had the same
Verbal
thing with
agreement.
Jake Ford, and we're gonna do the
All
same
right.
thing here. We've had
You're
nothing in
we're
writing
getting
with
to a
Jake
verbal
Ford.
agreement with somebody
And there
paying
is no-
$4,000 a month.
There is no contract
Go ahead.
with any town attorney.
Okay.
You have an agreement with them, not a contract, and that will be getting worked out, and Bob can have that thing signed.
We can work it out and give it to you later on, huh?
Yeah. So, any more questions about the amended approval? $200 and 4,000 miles.
Cap, max.
Probation.
And we have a 4-month kind of working period.
So now we're at 4 months.
Well, that's what we said before, 3 months and then 1 month in March.
So Rick's got $16,000 to learn how to do what
No,
we
he's
want
not
to do.
learning how to do it.
The man has no experience in municipal law. He's gonna have to learn how to do it.
I think everybody has to learn how to do everything, and anybody we hire is going to have to learn, because there's no such thing.
The
as-
Finkel law firm doesn't have to learn. They got the experience already. And they're cheaper than this guy.
Any more discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor then of the amended agreement with Eric Hale, Clarkson Law Firm, $200 an hour, 4,000 a month, do so with show of hand. All opposed?
Wow. Wow.
Next item is an executive session for a personal issue. I'll make a motion that we go into an executive session for a personal issue.
Personnel.
Personnel,
Unless you
yeah.
don't tell us something.
No, personnel. We cannot vote, we cannot make any decisions like that. We're going to go and discuss, we'll come back out and vote, and then we can move on from there. Is there a second?
There's a point of information, Mr. Mayor. Point of order, rather.
What's the point
The
of order?
personal issue matter is not applicable to the removal of the orchestra commission member. The orchestra commission members are not employees of the town. They're not contracted and paid by the town. They're appointed by council in a public setting. And as such, if there's any removal discussion, it should be done in a public setting.
The removal will be done, if we do remove, will be done in a public setting, because we'll come back out and vote.
So the discussion on this should be done in a public
No,
setting.
the
also.
discussion is a
It's not a
personnel matter.
personnel matter.
The discussion is a personnel matter, and it can be done in executive session. In fact, it should be done in
But this
executive.
is not they are not
It has
personnel.
nothing to do with it. They are an appointed position.
Are they paid?
Is there a second?
Are they paid by their position? Oh, you have to get a second?
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, and there's discussion. Are these people paid by the town for
No,
anything?
they're not.
They're volunteers.
They're appointed.
So how they become volunteers that are now personnel?
They're appointed positions are appointed, and they can be unappointed, and if there's going to be.
But it's
any
not a
discussion-
personnel matter.
If there's going to be any discussion on it, yes, it is a personnel matter, because they are appointed personnel with the town of Irmo.
Appointed personnel?
That's exactly right.
Whoa, we're coming up with new terms now. Appointed personnel.
There is a motion and
There
a
is no
second.
such thing as an appointed personnel, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, there is.
Where?
Read the law, just go back and read
Where?
it, whatever you want to. Spend your time reading it like anybody else would.
Appointed
Appointed
personnel.
positions are appointed, they can be unappointed. If you want to
But they're
discuss,
not this is not a personnel
if you want
issue.
to,
You can't go in executive session for a personnel matter for a non-personnel issue.
yes, I can. They're an appointed position.
We need a lawyer.
You can ask Jeff Shackert, Municipal Association, he'll tell you the same
I'm
thing.
not
Go into
asking
an executive session
I'm
and
ready to
handle
go
it
in
there,
there.
come back out and then vote. So all in favor of going into executive session?
Illegally, sure, we're going.
No.
Yeah, but
All opposed?
All opposed? And if you'd like to stay out here, you can, that'd be fine.
Oh, no, I'm going second.
Okay. We will be right out, and then we'll vote if we need to, and then we'll have the rest of it and go home. We are back out of executive session. I am going to make two different motions, one at a time. And because of the personnel confidential information, so to speak, if I'm covering that, I guess halfway correctly. There is not going to be a lot of explanation. If somebody wants to ask, they can. I may not answer. If another council member wants to, that's up to them. But my first motion is that we remove Kathy Little from the Orchestra Commission. She just was nominated earlier in the year, but has not been in attendance. And she will be welcomed if she wants to reconsider and reapply if she wants to when these vacancies are coming up. But that's my motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Make a note here.
And I'm glad you said if she wants to reapply, it's fine.
And she just needs to kind of
More than
explain
one.
what's happening, and then we can kind of take that into consideration. So there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, why are we doing orchestra business tonight in this special call meeting? I don't understand.
Mainly because we were having a special meeting. I want to go ahead and take care of this so that we will know, Bob will know how many vacancies we have. So when people start sending in their name and information, we will know what we got to deal with. And we're going to try to nominate people at the December the 15th meeting, which is not this coming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. So I felt like we need to go ahead and decide on this so that they would know what's available. Any more discussion? All in favor then of the removal of Kathy Little from the Orchestra Commission, do so with show of hands. All opposed? Is that unanimous? Next motion is that I'm making is that we remove Kirk Luther from the Orchestra Commission. Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion?
What reason do we have for removing Kirk Luther from the
As I said, we've discussed in executive session. I'm not going to discuss here. If you want to, that's up to you.
Well, yeah, I do want to discuss it because there's no reason. You told everybody in the press that we had a successful 2015 orchestra, that we made a profit, that we had a great turnout, and if Kirk Luther was the chairman of the orchestra, he was directly responsible for that happening. So why would you want to remove him from the orchestra?
I think we had a lot of people that were responsible for that happening.
And Kirk Luther was the chairman of the orchestra committee that
We had a lot
coordinated all
of
that.
commission members serving on the orchestra. We had a lot of staff members serving with the orchestra. We had a lot of people serving on the orchestra. I think it was very successful for a lot of varied reasons, but
So what's your reason for removing Kirk Luther?
I'm not stating that. I've stated that in executive
You're not
session. We all
stating the
discussed that, and I'm not giving you it. So
So I don't understand what the reason for removing him if you don't have.
you were in the same meeting with I was, so whatever questions you have, that's you can whatever. I'm not responding.
Well, Mr. Luther is a volunteer, and so was Ms. Little. Ms. Little was quite clear why we should remove her from the orchestra because she didn't show up. I mean, that's certainly a valid reason, but I don't get it when you say to somebody who's done a service to the orchestra commission, who has pulled off a successful rebound on the orchestra commission, who has done the budget and planning that we needed to do to make the orchestra commission, the orchestra festival successful. How do you turn around and say, okay, thank you for turning around, and now I want to throw you off the commission, and has no reason for doing it? That makes no sense. Well, a lot of things didn't make any sense tonight, but Mr. Mayor, that makes no sense. None. Zero.
Any more comments, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor then of the removal of Kirk Luther from the Orchestra Commission, do so with show of hand. There it is. All opposed? Next item is presentation by citizens. This is for anyone who would like to address Irmo Town Council on anything, regardless of whether it's on the agenda or not. They do so at this time. All we ask is that you give us your name and address for the record.
I just want to add, Mr. Caruso, that was not a slap in the face to you, sir. We appreciated your service. I appreciate your service to the Orchestra Commission and for what you've done for the festival, turning it around, eliminating the waste, making it more profitable. Because the mayor has a personal agenda with you and he wants to convince his Hardy Boys to go along with it, to go along with throwing you off. I don't have any fight in that dog. I can't sit here because of just intimate that I am proud to have had you serve on the commission.
Next item is adjournment. Is there a motion for adjournment?
I make a
Well,
motion.
did you say that we could?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, go ahead. I didn't see anybody else stepping up.
I'm sorry, somebody was talking,
Go
so.
ahead. Yeah.
And I guess I just wanted to, look, I don't have problems with any of you personally. However, I do have, and I'm sorry, Robin Barker, 130 Hexham Circle. However, I do have an issue with there not being attorneys allowed to come in and put their bids in. I have an issue with the way that business was done. That's my point. You know, as far as personal issues, I don't have any personal issues. I have some business issues.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, now we're at adjournment. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning, you so show of hands. We are adjourned.